Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have our Liquidware webinar. Today's webinar is Liquidware Command Control, purpose-built to monitor and manage remote staff. If at any point today you've got any questions, you can place it in the chat or Q&A window. This webinar is being recorded and you'll receive a link within a few business days after the event. So today we've got Jason E. Smith, VP of Alliances and Product Marketing with Liquidware. Hi, Jason. We also have Jason Mattox, CTO, Liquidware. And to just kind of mix things up today, we thought we would start off today with a lightning round, kind of get to know you both, warm you up before we start our presentation. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Sounds
new.
Sounds great.
Okay. So first question, we'll start with Jason Smith. What was your first paid job?
First paid job where like Social Security got taken out. I was a busboy.
Oh, a busboy.
For like 2 weeks before I quit. Yeah.
Oh, you lasted 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, Mattox.
Well, if it wasn't counting Social Security, then it would be cutting my neighbor's grass for my first 386 SX16 computer.
Ooh, there you go. Good one.
What was the Social Security one?
That would have been Great America, cooking food, but when you're 15, you can't touch the fryers, knives, or anything special. So cashier.
That's right. I also worked at Six Flags.
I was going to say 2 amusement park people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you worked at Six Flags as well, Jason.
Right.
Smith. All right, secret hobby or skill. Let's start with Mattox.
I melt and forge silver in my garage, actually. So I buy pure 999 silver, and I've got a 2000 degree kiln, and I melt and make silver bars on the side for fun.
Very cool. You're gonna have to show us those on one of your next webinars.
Definitely.
Smith?
Lately in the last year or so, I got an adventure trailer. What's that? It's a little camper. So you customize it, and it's for off-road to go in the national forest and things like that, similar to a teardrop, a little larger.
Very cool. Very fun. Okay. Smith, let's start with you. Are you inbox 0 or no? You got to be one or the other.
No. I assume that means is my inbox up to date and read?
Yeah.
You know that about me.
And organized and filed.
Right. No.
Maddox?
Probably hyper organized. I have a folder for every person in the company.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to. And then all the sales emails go into junk. Not our own people, external sales people.
Right. Good save. Okay, let's start with Mattox. Favorite city in the U.S.?
That's a good one. I think I toss it up between New Orleans and Key West, and I'll actually be in Key West in about 3 weeks.
Well, that's fun. Where do you stay in Key West?
It depends. It pricing and economy of choices right now. It was better 10 years ago than when I'm getting.
This is true. Yeah. My brother lives in Key West, so I'm very familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, Jason Smith, favorite city in the U.S.
Oh wow! I was given time to think just now, and mine's changed in recent years. It was a West Coast city, but it's changed. So I would say St. Petersburg, Florida.
Interesting.
Nice.
Interesting one. Okay, this is a timely question. Let's start with Jason Smith. Favorite Halloween costume?
Well, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I'll say what I dressed up as the last time I went out with the kids a few years ago. Hopper from Stranger Things. They say I look like him.
Ooh,
I've got a bobblehead back there too that they gave me. One of those pop-up things. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, Mattox.
I go back and forth between Jason, of course, and Michael Myers. I've done the Michael Myers, and then you can swap out the Michael Myers Carhartt for the clown faces. And a couple of years ago, I went to one of my buddy's house and chased the kids around the neighborhood because I was still running back then.
Scary, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump back to Mattox. Favorite, your dream car.
God, it's changed so much over the years. It's gonna be a 70s muscle car at the end of the day. That's my next classic purchase probably.
Got it. Very good. Smith,
Favorite dream car? Is that one? I got
or your
several.
dream car. Like, so if you could buy any car, past, present, future, what would you purchase?
You know, a stereotype at my age, probably one of the new Corvettes.
There you go. Okay, let's go with Smith. Your favorite video game growing up.
Oh my goodness. Adventure. Atari Adventure for the 2600. Very blocky, very pixelated, but very fun. Find the dot, find the sword, find the hidden. There was a hidden Easter egg in that game.
Nice. Maddox?
I think it's gonna be kind of three. It's like Super Contra for Nintendo, Mario 3 and Mario World on Super Nintendo. Kind of progressed through the games there. I've been trying to get the kids to play. And then one of our developers I grew up with here, our chief architect, him and I used to play Street Fighter 2, and huge tournaments for weekends on end.
I like it. I like it. Very good. All right, this last one is for Maddox. How did you get started on CommandCTRL?
Well, there's going to be a lot of probably Stratosphere customers on the call. It's been requests that Stratosphere customers been making, and we decided to take a different direction on the type of requests we've been getting. And we're going to talk about that during the webinar and how it was born in that direction. And I think there's going to be a lot of complementary customers that'll have both products. So.
Very good. All right, really good for the lightning round. Jason Smith, I'm going to send it over to you to kick things off, and I'll be back in a little bit.
Thanks,
Thank
Kristen.
you.
Thank you.
Yep, we're excited to tell the world today about CommandCTRL. And why? Because the beta program starts in about 24 hours, the public beta program. So we're going to let you know how to get signed up for that too. And we're going to give you an overview of what CommandCTRL is here. We've got Jason Mattox, our CTO, as Kristen said, and I'll be providing banter back and forth. But a little bit about Liquidware before we get going. We've been around since 2009. You may know us for digital transformation solutions. Anytime a desktop transformation comes up, we're a great fit. We like to say we help your company adapt, and we use this adaptive workspace management here for a long time. We still use this in our marketing because anytime you're at an adaptive phase where you're moving from one platform to another is a good time to engage us. But perpetually in an environment, we provide ongoing user experience metrics. We provide ongoing user environment management. So shifting you rapidly over to any other desktop, whether it be cloud or on-prem, from one OS to another, and then actively delivering those applications to desktops without modifying base images with FlexApp. That's our suite. So we can take you through a transformation, but we can do the ongoing management of any Windows environment, not just VDI, not just DAS, but physical desktops as well, especially with some of our newest solutions available. And now we're launching the fourth product in our offering, and it's called CommandCTRL. So it has been many years since we have launched a new solution, and we're interested to tell you about it first here, Help Desk Remediation. I'm going to turn it over to Jason to tell you more.
Thanks, Smith. Go ahead and share my screen here. Let me know if you can see it on your side.
Looks great.
All right, let's go ahead and jump in here. So what is CommandCTRL? As Jason Smith said, we're targeting the help desk arena in your operations team for remediating end user contention or issues in the environment. We've taken a SaaS-based approach. This is our first SaaS solution. We look and see that we could really help reduce the management overhead of on-prem solutions that we even have today with a SaaS delivery where you're just installing a small little lightweight agent on a machine and you're able to remotely manage and monitor those machines with a little agent. So what are some of the features that we've built into this product for 1.0 that'll be launching in the beta tomorrow? So we've got real-time metrics. This is a very big request from our customer base. How can we tap into the metrics real time? And this is not the easiest thing to do. We're trying to do this without PowerShell, without WMI, very low overhead memory and CPU, just like when you're looking at Task Manager. It's a Task Manager approach to real-time metrics, but we've taken Task Manager, put it on steroids, Task Manager plus from the cloud. It doesn't require any security posture, no WMI, no PowerShell to pull these real-time metrics. So we're able to pull these metrics every 3 seconds when you're looking at a machine. So if you get a call in your help desk, we're able to see real-time what is plaguing that user in the environment. And then we go to real-time remediation. How can I help solve the end user's issue potentially without taking control of their screen? I can create actions, alarms, and triggers. I can do stop and start services. I can remove services, disable. I can kill a process. I could run PowerShell command prompts, PowerShell scripting. So I could literally come in and help remediate that user potentially without ever having to take control of their screen and deal with mouse synchronizations, delays, drop-in connections. I can do all that from a web browser. Real-time diagnostics. I've been saying this for a while, ever since the pandemic. We had a small percentage of 100% work from home users. We had a small percentage of hybrid. Most companies had to move to an 80 to 95% work from home. Now we're still doing hybrid for 80 to 90% of the workforce. So how can I look at the home network and see if the home Wi-Fi isn't what's plaguing the user? I can see Wi-Fi metrics in real time, but I also can do testing against that home machine on that home network. I could do a ping, I could do a tracer, I could do a speed test. I can tell that, oh, you're at Marriott, you're at Starbucks. Use your phone as a hotspot instead because you're not getting a good connection to the internet. Your email stuck in your outbox. You're getting type delays in your protocol, whether it's Citrix, VMware, Microsoft for a protocol. So I can do diagnostics. Everything that we've built in the product is based on roles as well. We want to do roles from the ground up. You may feel that a PowerShell command prompt over in the bottom right there, maybe, or the scripting is too much power for a level 1 administrator or help desk operator. So you can build a role that limits to what they have control over in the product. Everything you see can be limited with a role in the product as we get to the demo at some point here. Task Manager views, like I said, if you understand Task Manager, you can move around command control. Remote assistance, we have a few different options for remote assistance. In the event that you can't do it from a script, command prompt, or built-in remediation ability with just a few clicks, you can take control of the user screen built in. And what's nice about this is we've automated the entire end user experience. So if you use Quick Assist, for example, Quick Assist is built into Windows 10. The administrator and the end user both have to be on Windows 10, but it can be over the internet. We automatically launch Quick Assist for that end user. They don't got to go find it. They don't got to go hunt it down. We open it for them and put it right in their face, and then the administrator reads the code to the end user, and they're able to connect through the internet and control their screen. If you don't want to use the internet for controlling a user session, you can use remote assistance, which is the built-in old school Microsoft point-to-point piece. It's very complex to set up and manage, but we've automated the entire management of it end to end. We again open that up. We transfer the little text file that's got to be sent down securely to the admin. I got to be on a Windows machine on the same routable network in that scenario. Then we have teleconference. This one's nice also because we automatically drop you in our teleconferencing software, and the end user is dropped into a new browser tab and added to the meeting automatically. And the administrator just joins the meeting and they can see the user's screen to see what's plaguing them. In that scenario, the admin could be on a Mac. They don't have to be on Windows in that scenario for that teleconference feature to work. And you can also invite other admins. So you can have a group call and have full video and audio as well to remediate the end user. Now, what we also did is we wanted to have a little bit of history. And the approach to history is the exact same approach to real time. And you'll see this in the demo that when we have the DVR ability, the DVR data of history is the same as if you're looking real time. What that means is it's a dashboard. The widgets move around on the screen. Our 30-day history, we're always collecting every 10 seconds and calling back every 5 minutes. So history is available very quickly. And it's a playback YouTube style bar. You can fast forward, rewind, and we buffer the metrics and we play them back in the browser in the UI. So the dashboard is exactly the same as if you're in real-time mode or DVR, so it makes really good sense.
So this is not, and we explained this to someone the other day, and they were thinking we were doing some screen captures. I said, this is far advanced. This is not a screen recording of that, of the screen and what they had open. This is a screen of what command control is looking at for all the metrics in real time, right? So as you hover
Correct.
and pull that back, we'll see in the demo, you will see areas that might appear red, and that'll catch your eye, and you'll be able to see what happened at a specific point in time.
That's right. It's like you were looking at Task Manager over the user's shoulder Tuesday at 2:30 yesterday, and you'd get that real-time Task Manager view with history applied to it. Exactly right. It's not screen recording yet. That is a feature I'd like to add at some point. We can talk about that later. Multi-tenancy, you can be a part of multiple tenants. So if you're a partner reseller, you have a partner reseller, or you have multiple companies, you can be part of multiple companies or organizations, and you can switch between tenants in that scenario. Scripting, PowerShell command prompt, you have a full PowerShell command prompt access over the internet. This does not change your security posture when we use this technology. We don't have to open firewall ports. We don't have to enable PowerShell remoting. We have webified PowerShell, if that's a real word. If it's not, Smith will TM it for me, trademark it.
It is now.
So dashboard view, we talked about that. Now, the other thing I'll say about the dashboard view that Smith said a second ago there was we highlight data that violates your thresholds in real-time mode and DVR. Your eyes are drawn right into where the problem is. If you have high CPU as a whole, we show you. If you have a single application taking high CPU, we show you. Memory, latency, network latency, gateway latency, all those things are highlighted and your eyes are drawn right into where the problem is. Even the most non-technical people, if you test them and show them a screen of a machine that's got contention and command control, they generally will point right to where it's red. And then that's where the problem really is. So super excited. The last thing here too is the script store. You can add your own scripts. We will be adding scripts ourselves. We don't support community scripts just yet. We have to create a team to vet scripts, kind of like an app store would, to make sure there's no malicious intent in said scripts. So that'll take time to get there, but you can upload your own scripts. Your partner can build scripts for you to help you build remediation tools in that script store as well. So where have we been and where are we going and where are we now? 2009 through 2012 was really the birth of VDI. How do I get to virtual desktops? How do I take all these physical machines and get there? So Stratosphere really helped us do an assessment validation. What was the user experience? What was the app experience? What apps are being used and not used, and what's that look like, and how do I get it to VDI, and how do I ensure that the user experience is good once they're on VDI or virtual desktop that's hosted versus dedicated compute. Then we move into, ongoing monitoring, ongoing data warehousing and diagnostics. And that's where Stratosphere really started to accelerate customers in ensuring that as they increase the density of their users, that the user experience stayed static. And then we got into forensic analysis and data warehousing and more really under the hood, large breadth and depth of data and pivot table type of data and large amounts of data in the back end. And then we move to digital experience monitoring, potentially asking the user questions, the next version of Stratosphere, some of those things. And then, how do we ensure from a digital experience monitoring that we're doing remediation and fixing problems either with scripting and automation or even end users self-fixing their issues. Two screenshots here. One on the left you'll see is command control. It's that main dashboard. Top right is Stratosphere future state. That's going to be its version of data warehousing on a user in the 6.7 release at the end of Q1 timeframe, start of Q2. That's where you're going to see that. And so the UIs are going to start to merge, similar technologies, ability, pollination of feature sets as well between the products over time. So how do the two products complement each other? When you look at the data warehousing and what Stratosphere can do, Stratosphere is definitely for multi-platform hybrid environments. It works on thin clients, 0 devices, almost everyone on the market. There's like 8 or 9 that we support already today. It's very deep telemetry data as well, forensics data warehousing. you know, memory leaks, thread leaks, handle leaks, all those type of things is very detailed within it. And it also has some optimization to prioritize foreground processes that the user is using to give them the better user experience. Now you take that data warehousing approach and, you know, how can we take action against it? Quantitative action. So we take the real-time data, we can remediate. We can do real-time remediation against the end user experience. We can do real-time diagnostics and the pings and the trace routes and the speed tests. We can add in our own remediation, our own testing with scripting. The sky's the limit when it comes to the scripting ability for the product end to end. And they'd be able to push a script to a single desktop or thousands of desktops in a few clicks. And then it comes into that history. It's not a data warehousing approach, but it is a little bit different approach to where it's a very comfortable task manager real-time view. The only difference is instead of every 3 seconds, it's every 10 seconds. Again, no WMI, no PowerShell. So there's other products out there that have some of this real-time type of functionality, but they're really leveraging PowerShell, which is very heavy on the machine. So benefits for command control doesn't care where Windows is located. If Windows has an internet connection, we can monitor it real time and we can remediate it real time and do diagnostics. Physical virtual cloud, any broker, domain join, non-domain join, Azure Active Directory, doesn't matter. Windows is Windows is Windows as long as you can get to the internet. Agent takes a few seconds to install. We'll have a MSI later this quarter, as well as a PowerShell script you run right now as an admin, or push it out with Intune. We've done that in our production environment. We actually use it in production for IT for our company for collecting feedback. There's no ramp time. You can learn the product. You can self-teach a product pretty quickly. If you want some of the granular details, we've got great web-based documentation for it as well. We have pre-built scripts, just 1 or 2 right now. We're going to add some more before we go GA. We can sign and approve scripts and make sure that you can use your own signatures against scripts, or we can do a SHA-2 hash for security purposes. Action alarms and triggers, those are going to be feathered in over the next few months during the beta cycle. And you know, we can do some simple tests and tasks as well. So key metrics: CPU, memory, disk, Wi-Fi, GPU, ISP location, geolocation. We have machines, users, and memory and services. So it's really that food groups of what you see in Task Manager. We've added a little bit extra to it that you'll see in the demo, because you'll see networking, but you know, a network card, you can see throughput in Task Manager in Windows, but you don't see latency to the gateway. You know, so you'll see signal strength in Windows. We also show that. So we've kind of webified everything that you see here when it comes to these metrics. Again, some of the tools we have: alarms, triggers, actions, a shell command prompt, and then scripting. And we'll jump into the demo, and let me switch screens. And Smith, if you got anything to add while I'm doing that.
That was great overview. Yeah, you can see the difference. You can see the immediate difference between this and Stratosphere, of course. Stratosphere, I like to say, takes a bit more of a historical view, not as real time as this is, and this is active. Boots on the ground, as we like to say, right? Reaching right in and touching someone.
Reach out and touch somebody. That's right. That's what everybody's kind of asking for. The data analytics is good, but you want to be able to reach out and take action and make that user happier. So this is command control, and this is my particular laptop and my user. It is a mobile lab, so it's a little bit more stout when it comes to resources, but we're going to run through quite a few things here. Left-hand side, we've got a machine name, just randomly created machine name because we use Microsoft 365 for all of our Windows licensing. We've got our last boot time, generation of CPU, BIOS information. You know, if the BIOS need to be updated, I could check here and see if it needs to be updated. Maybe that'll help the end user, and Windows version as well. I can shut down and restart this machine right now, active if I'd like. If the user is really stuck and they just can't do anything, you don't want them to hard power off their computer and potentially corrupt the hard drive or the OS. You know, we could come in and do a restart for them. And that would do a restart, and they can just wait for the machine to come back online, and we'll see it come back online as well with the agent connected icon here that'll show up in the top right. We get geolocation, so I'm routing all of my traffic through Alpharetta because that's where I want all my traffic to go, because we have different security policies in place for accessing certain resources, but I'm actually in Chicago area. And this is the same kind of thing when you use a VPN client, you're trying to watch Netflix overseas, same idea with the VPN software. Then we see current sessions. If this was XenApp or multi-user Windows or WV or AVD, you would see all the users here would show up as well. It's pretty neat to see that. And then I can log this user out, or I can remote control. We have the 3 options that we talked about earlier for remote control. I could see some environment variables for this user. That's just an added bit of information. And you'll notice these 3 little dots on every widget. On every widget, there is 3 little dots, and you can remove any piece of information you don't want to see, like to see, or maybe it just doesn't make sense for what you do in your job. So everything can be customized in these widgets. Now we get our consumers. Who is consuming the most amount of resources? So right now we're on a GoToMeeting, a webinar call. So of course, GoToMeeting is going to be the top of CPU, top of memory that you see over here is quite a bit for screen share that you'll see of transfer happening in that process. And this is all being recorded right now in the DVR in the background as well, which we'll get to. I can see my top consumers in memory and my top disk consumers, who's consuming a lot of disk in this environment. And as we scroll down, we get CPU again, how much CPU is the overall machine using. I've got 8 cores on this laptop. You also know in the bottom right, there's my battery. I'm plugged in, it's fully charged. This will highlight too when you get below 25%. Again, that's also recorded in the DVR, so you could even look and watch and see, what was the laptop doing, and it just died. It was 25%, then it just went from 25 to 5% like immediately, and some of the voltage information will probably tell you that that thing's got to be replaced. I've got a physical network card connected, and I've also have a Wi-Fi card connected as well on the bottom left here. Now, this is what's neat about this is we've kind of overlaid the graph, but I can remove the graph to make it a little bit easier to read. And so now I can see how much data is being sent back and forth through here. I can also see the gateway latency. So my home network is 3 milliseconds of latency, and I've got 85% signal strength, so it's not bad. And I'm getting pretty good connection to my mesh network, and I can see the security in the band. So if I'm troubleshooting an end user, I might say that the latency is really high, signal strength is low. They need to move their position at home to be closer to their Wi-Fi equipment or add in more access points in their home network, and they should call Comcast or call somebody that can help them do that. So that it really helps to relate the data. Now, if I have a lot of high latency like I do here on the VPN, our VPN has a lot of high latency right now. We're waiting for a new provider to get put in. And I can see that this may not be the best. Now I've set the values low to highlight it, but this goes back to, we're highlighting this data real time as it comes in, as it violates. And see the violation just turned off. I think it's like 50 is probably the number that we set it to. I can pull that up in a second too. And so I can see that here. And I get my GPU status, so I'm sharing my screen. We're doing video, so I've got a little GPU consumption there as well. And I can terminate any one of these processes. If I wanted to end this meeting right now, I could just click this and it would just kill the meeting. It won't do that today. The other thing that we did do is we know that a lot of our current customers are hybrid, virtual and physical. And we wanted to make the connection to, well, I've got an RDP session here for whatever reason. Maybe it's my primary desktop, maybe it's just a utility machine, but we actually make the relationship to this laptop is non-domain joined. It's AAD authenticated, but non-domain joined. And this machine is also non-domain joined. And so we've got a connection we've made with the broker data, or RDP, the protocol data, that I can jump right to that virtual machine that I'm logged into. And I can also do it in the reverse direction. So now I can make the relationship of the physical endpoint and the virtual machine, and I can go back and forth very quickly, and I can see that this is an RDP session, and I could jump back to that physical machine just with a few clicks. You understand, is it the virtual infrastructure machine that's struggling, or is it the physical machine, resources, home Wi-Fi, latency, gateway, things like that? So it's really neat to make that connection and make that jump very quickly between machines. Now, here's my machine here, and we can go to a PowerShell command prompt. So again, this does not change your security posture, does not use PowerShell remoting. It's all within the box. We're kind of forwarding that piece. Looks like we had a failed connection. Let's try it again. It says my agent's happy, so we'll see. This is why we go through a beta program. And let's do one more. Let's try the other machine and see if that one's any better. That one says connected. We'll give it a second. Could have been something that was updated recently because we've been making updates before beta tomorrow. Yep, so unfortunately that guy's not working, so we'll get that fixed for tomorrow's beta launch. Might have just came across a small bug that's got to be updated. But I could type in real time in that command prompt normally. I could type in whatever command prompt commands I can think of. In PowerShell commands, I can do a git dash PNP, plug and play device. I can press tab, I can copy and paste. I can do all the normal things you do in a command prompt, but in a web browser. If we come over to processes, we get the normal task manager type of view here. And I could search for my username if I want to just look at only my user processes. And so that's an added benefit over task manager. You can't really, you distill down and filter to user-based processes. This also works well for XenApp. If you're on XenApp and you're looking at a particular user in a task manager view, I could type in J Smith, J Mattox, and I could shrink it down to just the processes I care about on a multi-user environment that affect the user. I could also type in system to look at system-only processes. So I can do that as well. We also do the relationship of processes to services. So we can show you the service to process, and I could stop a service if I saw it taking a lot of CPU and resources as well. And if I was in violation here, it would show up highlighted in this view as well if I was in violation. If we come over to the service management view, I can start, stop, disable. I can also delete services. Now, if delete services is scary, because delete services is usually not a Windows single click function. It's a command line sc delete service name. So in that, or registry delete. In that scenario, you could build a role, an operations or help desk role that takes that away. So you don't want them deleting Bluetooth or deleting a main service that you need. You can take that function away from other operators and admins. Performance view, it's more of a targeted view of each individual piece of information. So like the Wi-Fi is nice to see in this view, potentially. You can kind of watch it. You could actually have your end user start walking around their house, and you can tell them where they have the best signal strength and the best opportunity, because signal strength will be as high as possible and latency would be as low as possible. Back in the day when I used to do consulting, I've been in areas where you get these older buildings, they're brick or steel construction, and it's hard to get Wi-Fi signal strength around a corner of a wall. And some older houses can be the same way. So you can definitely help with that. And obviously 5G 2.4 sometimes is better for distance. So you can make some recommended changes. So it's nice to be able to look at the data this way if you're troubleshooting an end user as well. We've got diagnostics. So I could go ahead and run a speed test against this machine. Now I'm on the VPN, so it's a little bit slower than it would usually be. I usually get about 600 or so, generally speaking. So it does a speed test. So you could do this. You could just do a quick speed test, decide that is that good enough for what the end user is trying to do? Yes, it is. We can do an IP config, see what the current IP addressing is. You could also do this in the command prompt. But here's the reason why we're going to keep on adding to the diagnostic screen. You may want to take away the full-blown command prompt access to a level 1 operator. And so we're going to continue to add in basic command line things to this screen to make them push button. You can also add your own command line arguments to a script in the scripting library and publish that script as permissions. And then they have access to additional things that we didn't enable as a widget just yet. We can do pings as well. And so you could do some pinging internally. You could ping a file server. You could ping something on the internet and see how they're getting along on their side. We can do a trace route. So if we wanted to see what the trace route looked like to liquidware.com or google.com, we can kind of look at that and see everything's going out IPv6 in this scenario. And then we can run a full group policy. Now what's cool about the group policy report is when we run it, we're running the HTML report, we're then transferring it to the middleware, dropping it on backend storage, and then providing it in a download. So we can literally download and we can open that group policy report. And so that is a complete transfer. Usually you would have to have the user run it themselves, figure out the commands, send them the commands, have them find the file, and then upload the file to you via email or something else. I just circumvented all of that, and I didn't have to take control of their screen to do it either. It's literally a single click of a button for a user and
You don't have to know any
computer.
command lines either.
You
So
don't
it's
know any.
perfect for someone like me. I don't even know how to ping something. I can just put in a URL.
Exactly right. So we're trying to make this as simple as possible to really help those day-to-day operators and help desk operations team really remediate and
Awesome.
troubleshoot end user issues.
So we got a few questions that came in. I don't know. I don't want to break your flow here, but
Let's go ahead. Well, let's break it up for a second and answer a couple of those so I don't get too far along.
all right. Kristen's got them.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so for remote, you might have we had just had another one come in too. So for remote, Jeff has asked us, for remote assist, does the user need to be logged into the endpoint? We have users that have issues with logging in from the sign-in screen and need to control before a user gets logged in.
Yeah, so they would have to, that's interesting. The quick assist for sure, the teleconference for sure. The remote assist, I'm not sure. It's not like an RDP would be, where you could log in for them or log in yourself ahead of time. We want to do some RDP over the internet at some point. The quick assist, it'd be interesting test to try and see what happens, because it's mostly automated, but it does require interaction for the end user to allow control. We don't have the ability to take control without approval at this point in the technology.
Okay, he has another question here. How does this all fit into Citrix CVAD session? Do you see the remote session stats or just the local device stats? As an example, will I see issues with an app within the session or only locally launched apps? Our environment is a Zen app, shared desktop, not DVI, so the session stats are important.
Yeah, so we don't see protocol data yet. That is something we're working on right now that will be in probably by end of year. We'll have protocol data, PCUIP, BLAST, and RFX, and then ICA, HDX to follow. You would see all the applications and processes on both ends. You would see on the Zen app side, and you would see on the physical endpoint side. So you would see both. You're just not seeing the actual send and receive through the ICA channels. You're not seeing the latency of the protocol. You're not seeing frames per second or image quality just yet. And that's the things we're targeting. We're targeting the send receive data. So if you're on YouTube or pulling a lot of audio, those would show. We're going to show latency within the channels, the broker, and then we're going to show kind of frames per second and screen image quality. Those are the key metrics we're going to show real time and in the DVR mode.
Okay, and then Chris asks, how resource intensive is this on the endpoint when collecting so much data?
Yep, so what's interesting is there's a couple things that we're doing. We collect every 10 seconds by default. And so it's a very quick, it's about as much overhead as you see with Task Manager. We're using the same techniques, very low level techniques that Task Manager uses. You can look at our agent and see how small it is and how we're storing that data. We collect all that data every 10 seconds and then we write it to disk pending, and then we upload every 5 minutes. It's pretty minimal. Now we don't go into 3-second mode until you click on a machine, and the agent is told to wake up and go into real time. That's every 3 seconds. And even then, that is very minimal as well. And so we're doing two things. We're collecting every 3 seconds, sending that up. We're also still collecting every 10 seconds and caching and then sending up to the back end. We don't record data when the screen is locked, and we don't record data when the user is logged out. That's a Stratosphere data warehousing functionality at the end of the day for that type of thing. If there's a Windows update going awry while the user's logged out, but they go to log in, and the machine is still not happy and the user's not happy, then we will start having that collection start. We would see that event in the DVR and or if you connect real.
Okay. I think that's all the questions for now.
Okay, we'll keep on going on the demo. All right, so this is the scripting library. We'll have more scripts in here to work with. This is a basic message script that I wrote, just sends a message to the end user. So we can look and see, we can see the source for the script. So super basic parameters, permissions. If I enabled this permissions for, I give somebody the readability to write or invoke the script, and then you have a change log for the script. So there's really good change control, ability to upload scripts, lock them down, limit them to certain type of individuals. Now, because the source takes a parameter, where the parameter is the message, what do I want to send? And so this is the msg.exe command really is all I'm running within this PowerShell script. So I click run, and I want to send it to a user or multiple users. I can go ahead and select usernames. Here, I can pick a couple. I could pick my laptop here. We can say I'm going to send a hello test message, and then we can click submit. And then it's going to run this across both machines in the environment, and it's going to then, there's my hello message, which I have in the environment. So I can click OK on that, and I can come back here and I can see status. I can click on each machine that it ran on. Did it run okay? Looks like it's trying to run it to the other machine. That's a lab machine that I have, and that one probably is going to fail, and it's going to cache it for a period of time until that machine comes online before it times out. Got some timeouts in there. So I got that message on screen. And then to jump back over to the DVR, which I did not show, it's always nice to show this. And so we can turn off live mode here in the top right. And now we get our color coding of violations. So I could come in here and pick which days had violations on this particular machine. This is still my laptop. I can see that there were network violations. Orange for network, it's also highlighted here. I could see, I can click on that particular day. I can also look and see that 11 a.m., I didn't have any issues, but the rest of the day I did. So I can go ahead and click into a particular day. And now the whole timeline is highlighted. The reason that is because my VPN is connected and it has issues all the time. Let's look at a different machine that maybe doesn't have as much violations in that particular metric. So we could look at potentially this machine here, another lab machine. We could go ahead and turn off, and we can look at it. So here's a little different mix that we can look at. We can also look at the calendar and see this machine has lots of violations happening. Let's take a look at this day. Take a look. And I can see there's network violations here. We got RAM, we got CPU, and we got processes. So we can go ahead and click on that particular day. And now I'm looking at a 12-hour period. These days, I can click on them and look at the data and play it back, but it's irrelevant. It didn't violate anything that I care about unless the user says, well, I had a problem and it's not being highlighted. I might go tweak my settings. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this particular day, and now you'll see the breaks. And so this is where we could take it and we can go ahead and drag and drop right to that particular time and click play. And now what'll happen is as it comes up to that particular spot in the timeline, it's going to then highlight on screen that particular metric. So again, it's a 10-second sample that's going to play. There's our CPU violation. So I'm going to pause it for a second. If you notice, I don't have any processes being highlighted. So this wasn't an application in itself that violated CPU. It was the overall total combined amount of CPU being consumed by everything on the machine. So this user might need just a whole new machine with more horsepower. They've only got 2 sockets, 2 processors on this machine. They might need 4 to be happier at the end of the day. So we'll go ahead and click play again. There's our network violation. Latency is high. What's going on with the latency? Now it was a blip, not a big deal. If I look at this overall timeline, that was a very small window. And again, CPU, if this stayed consistent this way, it's going to drop. So it just dropped, application closed, the user's happier. So in this scenario, this machine isn't that bad because there's pretty good gaps in between the violations that occurred. And again, we're going to see CPU. We should see, oh, there's an actual process. So antivirus is hammering this machine. 51 megabytes a second. That's a little obscene. We might want to look at a different antivirus. Might want to scale back how it scans, real-time scanning. That's a little obsessive when it comes to CPU consumption. But again, the duration of time that this happened was maybe a couple minutes. Off here in a second, and there now it's going to start calming down, and then the user experience was going to increase and the CPU dropped, right? So I have this ability to jump around anywhere in this timeline, and it's really neat technology. I don't think anybody else is giving you a live playback of data like this versus like a spreadsheet view or a static dashboard type of view. This is live and in your face and really highlights where the issue is and draws your eyes right into the issue. We can jump down to tenant on the left-hand side. We can see the owner of the tenant. We can see that we've paid with a credit card. This customer has 1,000 licenses. This product will have monthly and yearly options, credit card, ACH, and Net30 options as well, even though it's completely automated on the back end. I have users that I've invited and that have joined. I can invite users. I can invite other users of other domains. They don't have to be of the liquidware.com domain. So I can set their role if they're administrator or users, and I can see who the owner is. And I can go in and I can build the roles here. This is where I would build roles, and I would select the particular permissions of said roles. And we have tons and tons of permissions, and we'll have more examples of this, of how to build the roles to your liking. On the site side, if you want to do PowerShell to anything you see in the interface could be queried or actionable against PowerShell scripts against the platform itself. So you can have an API key and you could authenticate and you could run PowerShell commandlets against the REST API. You could build your own interface if you really wanted to on top of the product at the end of the day. Installing the agent today is really just to copy this PowerShell command and paste it. It looks a little intimidating, but there'll be a MSI here soon. And so that's really how you install it today. You can also put this in Intune. I've done that with us in production on our side. And then switching tenants, this is where I could switch a tenant in the top right or the top left. I could switch over to Liquidware Labs. That's our IT tenant with our production machines. Liquidware.com is the test machines. And then one of our SEs has his own domain, ZippyNet, that I'm part of as well, that I could view. So that is the demo. If there's any more questions we want to cover or any other topics we want to cover.
I did receive one more. Where is the playback data stored and for how long? How much space is used?
That's a good question. So the data, we store it in the cloud on object storage. The entire product runs on Google on GCP. It doesn't matter where the laptop or virtual machine is located in the world. It can communicate to the internet. It can send it back. It's stored for 30 days. We actually store it on object storage. We have a mixture of database and object storage approach, and that's helped us to make things very performant, speedy, and then controls cost that for the customer as well, and for ourselves. And so it helps with our cost of goods, that we don't have to increase cost of product on the other end. So it's a pretty interesting approach, the way that we do it. But yes, for 30 days, we might have options later on to ask for more than 30 days if it's appropriate. And there might be some add-on packs or things like that. But object storage is pennies on the dollar. So it's very cost effective to store it for 30 days.
It's a great question. So you can see the difference of this being a really active way to support your users and help desk support. Having it multi-tenant from day one is going to help our partner community as well as larger enterprises that want to adopt this. The DVR functionality is one of the most interesting things, I think, where you don't have to babysit or go through a lot of data. It just flags it right away. Some of the things those were some of the things that we were also hearing were very interesting to the people we showed this to at VMware Explore about a month and a half ago. The beta program opens tomorrow, as I said, and we're going to show you in just a moment how to get into that. But Kristen has a poll question for us. We'd like to get your input, being that we're at the beta phase of this solution. Which feature in command control do you perceive to provide the most value out of the ones that are here on the screen? The real-time monitoring, the DVR that we showed, or the powerful scripting capabilities, even on a very granular basis? So we'll leave this up for just a moment. It'll take over your screen, and that's the only thing that you'll see for a moment. I believe that's at least my view.
We also have in the chat feature the sign up, the registration for the beta if you want to sign up for that. That is in the chat feature.
That's great. So you got the link right in there. So please answer this question so we can get a little bit of input from you. We'd also like to hear from you at any time. If you'd like to email me personally, you can give us your thoughts on the beta that you saw today and on the beta program at jason.smith@liquidware.com. We'd love to hear your additional thoughts.
Right, and Jeff also asked, is there an email we can send a more detailed question to? You can also send that, if you want to send that directly, Jason, and just give me your email address, or sales@liquidware.com or marketing@liquidware.com, and we will filter that to the right person.
Yep, that would be great.
Okay, so the poll, let's see. We're going to manage that. Oh, 27%, 33% voting. We're still going. Okay, currently we are, let's see. Okay, collecting responses. Oh, still going, 40%. Yep. So maybe just a minute more. Also in the chat feature, I want to indicate we are hosting another webinar next month, November 15th, lock-in savings and extend your hardware life cycle with Stratosphere UX. So you'll have a place to sign up for that as well. It's on our website under the events page.
Yep, so going to give you a countdown to respond to this question, please, and then we'll cut it back over. So just click on one of those there, what you thought was the most interesting thing in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Please click on a solution there that you thought was interesting. 3, I know I skipped a number. 2, 1, and cut back over.
Okay.
Thank you, Kristen.
53% voted. We've got 50% wanting real time, 25% wanting the DVR, and 25% scripting.
Wow, it's a good mix.
Mm-hmm.
An interesting mix.
Fantastic feedback. I love it.
Did we have a slide of the beta program, the final slide there, Jason, that showed if you test the beta, if you download and test the beta, and I believe give us feedback, there's a swag bag that we're offering up too. Might be on that final slide, just an image of it.
I don't have it there, but I believe it is here.
Yep, there's an image of it right there on that screen. So that link that Kristen gave in the window, you click on that and it'll get you to this page, register for the beta, and this first 100 to sign up and download. So you can't just sign up and get this great swag bag, but you need to download the beta, and you'll get a great swag bag sent to you. And we hope that once you get that, you'll post some pictures to social media, share it help spread the word about our new solution, Command Control. So make sure you do that. Any other questions, Kristen?
Nope, I believe we are all caught up.
That's great. So we're looking forward to the audience members enrolling in the beta program, and we look forward to seeing you soon. We're out and about more than we have been in a long time to events coming near you. Already busy planning also next year's events. So look for those to be published. Look for those on our events page, whether it be a CUGC near you or one of our own events that we have coming up soon. Without further ado, I'd like to thank the panelists. Kristen, thank you for the organization of it and everything that you provided there. And Jason, thanks for this great overview. And congratulations on the beta starting just one day from today.
Got some work to do tonight, but we'll be launching tomorrow. We're excited.
Great. Thanks. I'd like to thank our audience members. This will be recorded. Look for that recording to be posted soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.